This is the Darling of the Forgotten State, unofficial OTS member, Noah Vale, and you're tuned in to the OTS Project.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 5 of the OTS Project with your host Kyle Bridger and Mr. Theo Bebot himself.
Hello. Yes.
We got a lot to talk about because this is our grand finale of our theme for the wrestling game theme for the month, I guess. So this is our grand finale. We're going to break down all of the WWE 2K25 news that we just got a few days ago. But before we do that, Theo, what'd you do this week? What's going on?
Been working out as always. I've been actually going back and watching a good number of random matches because I told you last week during Saturday Night Main Event I was going back and watching Kurt Angle matches, and then I just kind of devolved from there into just all over the place. And I've started making my own playlist of I actually really like this match. I want to save this match for later, so now I just kind of have a favorite matches playlist on YouTube.
Right.
Getting started.
I have the same thing. Anything else going on? Anything cool? Anything fun?
I did get a bit of a surprise birthday gift yesterday. Well, not really, but I called it a birthday gift.
Okay.
Because a random coworker came in, and they got these for really cheap, so they just gave them to me because they know I like the Muppets. But I got a bunch of little Halloween Muppet pins.
Oh, nice.
I got
Are they
set of 4.
Are they like Disney pins? Like they're Disney parts pins
Disney,
kind of?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fire. I may have to look in my pin collection. I may have a couple Muppets ones I can give you too.
All right. I want them all.
There you go. On my end, not too big of an eventful week. I kind of spent the past few days, like I do every year, watching old Royal Rumbles. I like to do that every year, or at least to the most that I can. So I don't know. I have a thing where I don't watch super old Royal Rumbles. Sometimes I do, where I'll go back and watch the 1999 Rumble or 2003 Rumble. But I feel like the past couple of years, I've kind of just gone back and watched the most recent Rumbles. So I basically watched 2024, which we were at from there till I think 2019.
Okay.
That's always fun. I just enjoy doing that. I love seeing I don't know, man. There's just something, even the surprises that you now know about that are 5 years old are still so cool to see. Or sometimes you forget. Some people will pop up and you go, oh my gosh, I totally forgot this person was in the 2022 Royal Rumble, things like that. So that's always cool. Summer Rae popped up in the Rumble and I completely forgot she was in that Rumble, and she's running to the ring screaming F you to Natalya as she's screaming and running down to the ring. It's hilarious. So yeah, that's what I kind of did the past few days, was just kind of watch the past couple of Royal Rumbles. But I'd say the biggest thing happened yesterday. The Weeknd dropped a new album. So that has been the past, I can't even say 24 hours, so the past 10 hours I've had it on repeat, although I've been sleeping for 6 or 7 of those 10 hours. But I basically just been listening to the new Weeknd album and watching previous Royal Rumbles. That's been my week.
Nice. Whenever I get finished up just watching normal matches, I feel like Royal Rumbles, Money in the Banks, Elimination Chambers, that's all next, at least
for sure,
to what's available to me.
Right. And they're always fun to go back and watch. Everything from Rumbles or WrestleManias, those are always really fun to go back and watch. So yeah, that's kind of been our week, I guess. Before we jump into it though, something that's coming up this week. Well, as we're recording this Friday, the day before the Royal Rumble. So that's gonna be cool. Side note, we just put out a video about our OTS Project Championship, where we're basically gonna do predictions for the WWE PLEs every month, and whoever gets the most right will be the champion until the next month when it's time to defend. So that is gonna, I guess, be the first defense, or the first
defense, yeah.
The first defense, even though no one's defending it. The inaugural championship bout, we could say, will be happening tomorrow because we're recording this the day before the Royal Rumble. So Theo will be at my house for the Rumble, along with the homeboy, friend of the podcast, Mr. Wyatt Pelt, the Pelter himself, I believe. So yeah, we have our championship, so that's cool. We're gonna watch SmackDown tonight, but tomorrow is definitely gonna be awesome with the Royal Rumble. It's our favorite show of the year, and we're gonna see who's gonna be the inaugural OTS Project champion. But yeah, coming up this week, in just a few days, Mr. Theo, is your birthday.
It is.
Just about 5 days away, I believe. Something like that.
Yeah, 5 days.
5 days. So I gave you your birthday present last weekend.
Yes.
So we recorded that, so I'm going to edit that in right here. So yeah, happy birthday, Theo. You got your Jimmy Wang Yang card and your Professor McGonagall Funko Pop, wherever she is. Is it in the back? Oh, no, that's not it.
It's not in the back.
I thought it was.
Here. I have my
Okay.
Jimmy Wang Yang card up here. That way,
There you go.
whenever I need to, I can just look at
There
him.
you go.
And he's there
There it
for
is.
me.
There it is. So yeah, happy birthday, Theo. Just a few days away. So if y'all are listening and watching, make sure to drop Theo a happy birthday and make sure to send him a DM and ask for his Cash App and send him a shit ton of money.
Yeah, do that. That'd be great.
So-
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Happy birthday, bro. Happy birthday. So let's start diving into this topic because this topic is going to be a big one. This might be the longest episode we've done just because of the amount of stuff that is in this between the official big news that's dropped and the stuff that I kind of just found the devs talking about in interviews. We got a lot to go over. So yeah, this is going to be our grand finale for our WWE Games month theme here, where we're about to break down all the news on WWE 2K25, starting with the release date, March 14th and March 7th for early access. It'll be available on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and X, and the PC, which is always great. I mean, that's standard fare. That's how it always is. Pre-order bonus, we got the Wyatt 6, which is all the members, plus an Uncle Howdy and a Nikki Cross mask for the island, which I think is kind of annoying. I won't lie. The mask thing, I guess that's kind of cool. It gives you a little cosmetic to run around with when you're in the island, which we'll talk about that in a second. But the whole Wyatt 6 pre-order thing, I think it's a little annoying. I'm sure some people are excited, and I'm not excited. I think they're cool. But the fact that y'all basically took like 4 people that were already in the game and took them out of the game to then just put like a costume on. Like the only person in this pack that's not already in 2K24 is Eric Rowan. He's the only new character. So the fact that, yeah, you took 4 other people in Uncle Howdy, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, and Nikki Cross and took them out of the game just to add their little costumes, which Uncle Howdy, I don't even know because Uncle Howdy... there was a joke, I think I sent it to you, that Uncle Howdy's been a DLC in the WWE game for the past 3 years.
He is stuck in the void of being DLC forever.
Right, which is insane. So I don't even know if he's going to even really get much of an update because it's not too different from what they did with that dumb, like, Bray Wyatt DLC thing that they did. I don't want to say dumb, but it was kind of like a money grab. It felt like. So yeah, I'm like, to take 4 people out of the game just to give them updated costumes, well, maybe even, like I said, 3 people that get updated costumes. That's a little annoying to me when I feel like we could have got something a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. They don't... and even that much, too, like, I don't really know if they've got the kind of motion to be pre-order DLC like that.
Right. Because even when I think about it, I'm like, I don't even know if... I don't even know if they really have updated moves compared to what they did when they were not in the Wyatt 6, so it's not... You know what I'm saying? Like,
so.
I think the only actual...
The same thing.
Right, I think the only actual update that they're going to get is their costumes and then, like, the entrance. I did see in the trailer that there was, like, a 5-person entrance or whatever. So that's cool. I don't know if that's going to be the only one, but that is a cool little thing. But, yeah, I think they could have done a little bit better with the pre-order bonus, in my opinion. I'm not sure 100% what they could have done. Maybe they looked at it and said, what can we do? And this is about all they could figure out, you know? Because, I mean, on one hand, I do get it. Like, everybody's already kind of signed or can't be signed or whatever. So, on one hand, I get it, but I feel like they could have done something a little bit cooler, or something like, if they were going to go with this as the pre-order bonus, maybe add a little bit more instead of just the members and then 2 cosmetic items. Maybe add something more. I don't know what that would be, but I feel like they that's on them to figure out creatively what else they could have added, you know?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, when you're coming up behind WWE 2K24, which has Stardust as a pre-order bonus character, I mean, what can you really do? There's not much.
Right. So, base game, $70, normal fare like it always is. That gets you the Wyatt 6 pre-order pack if you pre-order it, and it gives you a digital version of 2K24, which I think is cool. And I think that might be the first year they've done it, or the first year in a while that they've done that. It's not?
No. They've been doing this for years now.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's cool. I mean, it doesn't matter to me because I already have the previous game, so maybe that's why I didn't realize it. But for someone that doesn't, that is cool. It does give you, a month or 2 to kind of mess around with the older game before you dive into the new game. So that is always cool. The other editions, we got the Deadman edition at $100. So it's all standard fare. This is all the same stuff that they do every year. That gets you 7 days early access, the season pass, a My Faction Persona card for Undertaker 1990, My Faction Persona card, Mattel Elite Collection Greatest Hits Undertaker. That's a mouthful. Usable urn as a weapon. Brother Love as a manager, and then you get an Undertaker 1995 mask as an island cosmetic. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of middle of the road on this one. I don't think it's anything too crazy, but I also think it's not bad.
I don't know what you're talking about. I can't wait to dress up as Undertaker 95 on the island. I'm so excited for that. What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like the 7 days early access and the season pass, they do that for every special edition or whatever. So mainly the different stuff from 2K24 is the Undertaker stuff. Neither of us play My Faction, so those My Faction Persona cards are really null and void for us, probably. I mean, they are Persona cards, so they are going to be, I guess, in just the game in general instead of My Faction. But yeah. I don't really use the Undertaker that much. So, it's kind of null and void to me. Usable urn is probably, funny enough, that's probably the best thing out of this whole thing, in my opinion. Just because I could see myself utilizing that. Brother Love is a manager, same thing, where not sure how much I'm going to utilize him, And the Undertaker mask, maybe I'll throw that on until I get something better for my character on the island. But, So yeah, I don't know. I think this might be the edition that I'm going to go with. I think you and I both talked about that this is probably the edition we're going to go with because the next one is just a little too crazy. But, yeah, I only really see myself using the urn. And go ahead.
To me, this is just... You're buying the game, you're buying the season pass. Here's a few other little things extra just to fancy it up a little bit. To me,
that's exactly
it really depends on how good the season pass is. Because to me, if it's going to be like last year's, I'm not even going to go with this edition at this point. I'll just go with the base game. I don't think I really even need a lot of these DLC characters. I didn't last year. So they'd have to do some really good DLCs for me to want to buy the season pass with it. Right.
And hopefully they do. Y'all can go check out our DLC video. It should be up by now. It goes up on the 5th, I believe I scheduled it. So by the time this is out, it should definitely be out or about to come out on the OTS Project YouTube channel. We predicted our DLCs for 2K25. So hopefully some of our predictions come true, and then that'll if our predictions come true, that'll definitely make it worth the season pass. Right. But yeah, going back to the topic, I don't know. Like you said, I was literally just about to say what you said. Like, this will be me just getting it just because I'm like, well, I'm going to get the game, and I might as well get the season pass. So I'll just get it now, and the rest of the stuff is just extra. So not too much. I mean, if you're a big Undertaker fan, I guess it's cool. You get the 2 extra models, and you get the Brother Love manager and stuff like that. I think that's cool if you're a huge Undertaker fan, but not that I'm not an Undertaker fan, but I'm not a huge Undertaker fan. You know what I'm saying? He's not my favorite, so things like this aren't. If this was the AJ Styles edition, I'd be on it instantly. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's my guy. Or even a John Cena edition, I'd be like, "Yep, sign me up. I'll buy this immediately." You know what I'm saying? But yeah, last edition, the Bloodline edition, at $129. So an extra $30 they like to tack on. I did do it last year. The WrestleMania edition I did do last year. I do normally do it. To be honest with you, I normally do get the Ultimate Edition so I can get everything that the game has to offer. But I don't think I'm doing it this year. This might be the first year in years that I don't do the Ultimate Edition. But it is the Bloodline Edition, which is a cool idea. You know what I'm saying? But they're just too reliant on My Faction. That's really all it is. Yeah. If this thing came with just normal models that were, I don't know, man. These damn Mattel figures, I love Mattel figures. I have a bunch. Oh, you can't see them, but I have a bunch up here. I have a few over there. Sorry, my thing's flipped. I love action figures, but I don't really care about them in the game. They were cool. The Cody one and the John Cena one were cool little things that they did at first, but I really don't care about them. So this edition comes with My Faction Persona card, Mattel Elite Collection Greatest Hits, Roman Reigns. Jesus, that's way too much to say. My Faction Persona card, Mattel Elite Series 114 Jey Uso, Island Cosmetics, you get a Family Above All hoodie, an OTC shirt, a Yeet tank top, and Yeet sunglasses. You also, I guess, get the Rock Nation of Domination pack, which comes with a Rock Nation of Domination My Faction Persona card, You also get the WrestleMania 41 pack. Comes with the WrestleMania 41 Arena, My Faction Persona card New Playable Superstar, My Faction Persona card WrestleMania Main Event 1, My Faction Persona card WrestleMania Main Event 2. We're gonna kind of we'll go over that kind of on its own, but it also comes with the the Wyatt 6 and the DLC season pass, and I believe it comes with all the Undertaker stuff too, I'd imagine.
Yes.
So going to the core thing here with all the Bloodline stuff, like I was saying, I really don't care about these action figures, man. If they would have just done normal models or normal, I don't know, if they would have done, here's the Usos from, whatever, the 2014 Usos with the face paint, that would have been something that would have intrigued me more than like 2 Mattel My Faction cards. So that stuff I don't care about.
I think it was a cute gimmick at first. I kind of liked it with the Cody Rhodes and the John Cena, but now at this point, it's just kind of getting like half the roster in like WWE 2K30 is just going to be Mattel figures at this point.
Right.
You're going to be able to have whole universe modes made up of toys.
Right. And then the Island Cosmetics, same thing. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how much we're going to utilize the Island. I hope we use it a lot. It seems like a cool mode because it's going to be similar to like the NBA My City or whatever, the city, which I always really enjoyed. So hopefully I use it a lot, but I don't care enough for my guy to be running around in a Yeet tank top to spend $130. So yeah, same thing where I feel like they kind of fumbled the bag here by just doing some Mattel figures that I don't think people care about, and then just some cosmetics that, again, I don't think people really care about. Rock Nation of Domination pack literally just has one thing in it, which is insane. It's literally just a Nation of Domination Rock My Faction card. Seems dumb, seems ridiculous, seems over the top. I don't know why. Like y'all could have just put him in the game. Y'all literally could have just put him in the game. I don't know.
It could have been like a match and showcase or something like that, and it would have been
right.
the exact same thing.
Right. Or just an unlockable, Moving on to the WrestleMania 41 pack. This is the only thing that interests me. This is the only thing that piques my interest out of this whole thing, and I think it is only available in this edition. I'm sure it'll be available for purchase later on. I think that's what they did with this past year, where the WrestleMania 39 arena was in the Ultimate Edition, but I believe you were able to purchase it later on as DLC. So I'll probably just purchase it later on. But it does interest me because you do get the arena, which is always cool. You get the updated, arena for the year. But what interests me is this My Faction Persona card New Playable Superstar. So that obviously means somebody completely new. So we have no clue who that could be. It could be anybody that we would have predicted for DLC. I would imagine it's probably someone along the lines of maybe Penta or something like that. It's got to be someone big.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be someone big that makes you actually want to purchase it. And on top of that, like, it's not going to be someone from NXT, I would imagine, because it's a WrestleMania-based thing. Like, Julia, Stephanie McCourt, Ethan Page, Javon Evans aren't going to be on WrestleMania. So I don't think they would be in this pack. So I feel like the only new playable superstar that it could be that is probably going to be on the WrestleMania card would be Penta.
Right. Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
I feel like it's going to be Penta. So that interests me. And then you get a Persona card for the WrestleMania Main Event 1 and 2. That also interests me because that's obviously going to be new attires for someone that's probably either in... It's going to be new attires for either the two guys that are in Night 2's main event, or it's going to be an attire for someone that's in the main event of Night 1, and attire for someone that's in the main event of Night 2. So that's going to be interesting. Obviously, we don't know what those main events are, but you could, pretty much count that Cody Rhodes is going to be one of those, I'd imagine, because he's going to be in the main event. So Cody's probably one of them, and then maybe a John Cena with his, WrestleMania. He's got different themed shirts for every city he's going to, so obviously he's going to have a WrestleMania themed Las Vegas John Cena one last run shirt, so I could see that being the case as well. So that pack is the only pack out of any of these editions that actually interests me, because it actually adds things to the game that people are most likely going to use.
I'm not really much interested about any of this stuff. If it comes with Penta, I'll get the 41, but if not, then I'm probably still not even going to get that. I'll probably just still stick with the main edition, unless they can convince me with a really good lineup for the season pass.
Yeah, I feel you. So I think we might be both doing this Undertaker edition just to get the season pass, depending on what is in the season pass. Hopefully we find out soon enough so we can make our decision. But moving forward, DLC/season pass, there's going to be 5 post-launch DLC character packs, which is the same as it is every year. And you also get the Supercharger, which I believe is the thing that unlocks everything automatically or something like that. And I think it has something to do with the My Rise or something like that too. I think it gives you some attribute points for your My Rise character too, I believe, or something like that. So standard fare, that's what they do every year. They've done it even before like they rebooted. I feel like they did the same thing 2K19, 2K18, stuff like that. So moving on to past the additions and all the DLC and stuff. The features, we got the island, like we've been talking about, an interactive world made up of a series of areas built around different WWE themes. The island offers players the opportunity to explore and challenge other players while vying to earn a WWE contract by impressing the original tribal chief, Roman Reigns, by completing quests, taking on challenges, competing in live events, earning unlockables, and upgrading, customizing My Superstars through multiple storyline chapters. The island allows players to step outside the ropes and rule beyond the ring, available only on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. So I feel like this, I need to take a breath there. I need to breathe there for a second. It's a handful.
This is going to be the big mode of this game.
Yes.
A bit surprised. Actually, no, I'm not even going to say. It's not surprising that this is not coming to PC. I feel like they always try and find a way to screw over PC players with stuff like this. But, yep, only on PS5, Xbox Series X and S. Luckily, we both have those, so we should be good to play those. I'm a bit excited to play it out. If it is going to be like the city mode in the NBA games, I think it's going to be just something big and new and something we haven't seen before in a WWE span. I'm assuming there's probably going to be a similar thing where there's like a bunch of rings around and you can like queue up and do like matches then there, online, multiplayer, stuff like that. For sure. And obviously being able to customize your character with a bunch of unique customization options within this island mode is going to just make customizing characters so much more in-depth than just the standard customizer we already have.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, this is definitely going to be this is the biggest thing that they're touting this year. This is their big. They always have one like huge thing that they're touting, whether it's War Games or something like that. So this is definitely the big thing that they're excited to put into the game this year. And yeah, I'm excited to try it. I always like the city. I never got too far in the city because I'm not really good at basketball. So I never really got into the storylines and all that stuff. But here is a different story. Wrestling is my life. So I think I'm going to be, if it is very similar to the city, but wrestling, I think I'm going to be in here a lot. This may rival universe mode for me this year, if that's the case. Yeah, I'm excited to see these storylines and whatnot. It seems like it's going to have a full storyline. I don't think the city really has that. Like the city in NBA is connected to like the My Player, whereas this doesn't seem like it is. It seems like it's two different things from My Rise. So I think it has a like I was saying, the city has its storyline, but the storyline is just the My Player storyline. That it's just a story mode in general. Whereas this, I think, is going to have its own story mode that's disconnected from like the game's story mode. So that is cool because I don't think NBA has done that other than like the small little quests and stuff. But yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. I think I'm excited to try it. It is, yeah, like you said, it's only on like the new gen consoles, PS5, Xbox. It's not on PS4 or Xbox One or PC. It's kind of on its own thing. Yeah, if they do this right, this could be something that is really high praised and could be something that is in the game for years and years. I mean, I could see each year they change the theme. Like this year is, Roman Reigns, but who's they? Next year's is an Undertaker theme, and it's all gothic, and you have a giant statue of the Undertaker in the middle of the thing, or John Cena, where everything is super elite and prestigious, and you have John. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a cool thing where each year, hopefully, they could change it up, and they don't just keep it with Roman Reigns. I think they have the opportunity to make it a cool theme around a certain legend or top guy. A Cody Rhodes edition where everything's all American flagged out and stuff would be really cool. So hopefully they do it right. We all know the VC situation is going to be insane. They're going to milk as much as they can for you to run around.
I completely forgot about VC. Oh my god, that's going to be terrible.
Anyone that's played the city in NBA knows that that's like the worst part, is that if you want your character to look cool or you want to get some goofy mascot or something like that, you're going to have to either grind like there's no tomorrow, or you're going to have to drop like $100 to get a damn mascot costume. You best believe they're bringing that to WWE's Island. They're going to be doing that. If you want to dress up as the Gobbledygooker, get ready to drop $100 on some VC for that costume. So don't get y'all's hopes up that you're going to be running around wearing cool stuff. You're going to see a lot of people running around in some brown tights and maybe some Yeet glasses and some
Yeet glasses. Those
Uncle
are the
Howdy.
spenders. Those are
Right,
the people
Uncle
you play and
Howdy.
laugh at for spending $130
Well, no, that's
on this
the
game.
yeah. Or people run around with some Uncle Howdy mask. We're gonna see a lot of Uncle Howdy and Nikki Cross masks because that's just the pre-order thing. So that's probably what we're gonna see the most is a lot of people in brown tights or brown trunks and Uncle Howdy and Nikki Cross masks. So yeah, I think it could be really cool. I hope it's cool. I hope they don't mess it up. I hope it's gonna be cool because it could be something that's a staple and could be really cool for years to come.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving forward, my GM online multiplayer. Intrepid GMs can take their show on the road and challenge general managers worldwide in the enhanced My GM for WWE 2K25 now with online multiplayer for up to 4 players. Players draft WWE superstars and legends to their weekly show's roster and lead their brand through multiple week seasons. A bigger selection of general managers, cross-brand premium live events, and more. My GM is also getting cross-branded PLEs and trading. So that's another cool addition that's coming to My GM where you'll be able to have a PLE together and you book out the show with your matches and your friends' matches or something like that, and you'll be able to trade superstars, which is cool. That's always something that they had in the old games that they haven't really brought into the new one. So that's really cool. You know, My GM is one of the best modes in any wrestling game. We've kind of harped on that and said that, but I haven't been too big of a fan of it since they brought it back. I'll be honest with you. I think because it was still limited, I remember we were really excited to try it in 2K22, and I feel like you and me hopped in there for a day, and then we never played it again. So, like, I feel like we do that every year, where every year the game comes out, and we'll try it, and we'll play it for a day, and that's it. So, but we used to have to share play it because it wasn't online, so I used to have to share play, and you would join it. So, maybe it'll be a little different now that it's online, and we can kind of just hop in whenever we want and play together. Enhanced... My GM for 2K25 now with online multiplayer up to 4 players, so we could even add 2 more if we wanted to. Let's see. They have a bigger selection of general managers, so I think my DLC prediction of Ava being added as a GM is totally null and void, and I think you were right with your rebuttal to me, is that she's just in the game. She's definitely, them saying a bigger selection of GMs, you're going to get Adam Pearce. Nick Aldis is definitely in the game. He's making his debut in the game. Ava's definitely in the game. Eric Bischoff, Teddy Long. Who else? Is there anybody else I'm missing?
McMahon,
Stephanie's probably in there. I feel like that might be it. Maybe
maybe
Kurt Angle as a GM from his time when he was GM.
Yeah. He was GM for a little while.
Yeah, so I think Ava's definitely in the game. Nick Aldis is going to make his debut in the game, which is really cool. And someone always finds a way. They did it with Adam Pearce, where they take his model and they're able to put his wrestling gear on it and upload him. So hopefully they're able to do that with Nick Aldis and even Ava, because she wrestled too. That'd be really cool. But really with Nick Aldis, because he has such a really cool, large history with Impact Wrestling and the NWA. So that'd be really cool if you can download a quote unquote CAW, but it's kind of just his model with his wrestling gear. That would be really cool. Yeah, cross-branded PLEs is gonna be really cool, where you can, like I said, you and your friend can go in and book it together and just do your matches here and their matches there, or you do, interpromotional matches of here's my guy versus your guy and things like that. So that's gonna be cool. And yeah, trading. I feel like trading is probably the biggest thing other than the online feature. Trading is probably the biggest thing in general, because that's always been a core part of it, I guess, back in the day. So the fact that they're finally bringing it in is really cool.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be playing this a little bit now that it's actually mainline streamed for online multiplayer and stuff like that. Or at the very least, we're gonna be trying it out for a day for sure. Hopefully, it's just good enough to where we could play this for multiple days on end.
Right.
It's gonna be interesting to see how exactly they do it. If it's gonna be you all have to be online at the same time. Maybe they could do a thing where it's you don't all have to be online at the same time, but you could do your stuff and then it'll just pass on to the next player, and then they could do their stuff at their time or whatnot.
That would be cool.
That would be a cool thing I'd like to see. I doubt it's gonna happen. It's probably gonna be all you have to be online at the same time sort of thing. Right. But I'm excited. They always make little updates to my GM every year, so hopefully this will be the big one to push us to play it more.
Third-person camera support in online matches and the ability for each player to control their own camera have been added, as well as new brawl environments such as the WWE Archives and NXT parking lot. Now that, I think, is really cool. The third-person camera support, I don't really care too much about. I just marked it down because I saw a lot of people talking about it, but I don't even really know what that means that much. So maybe you might have a better understanding. I don't know. I don't really know.
I think I know what it means. I think because there are like different like camera options for where you have your camera. Because there's the usual setup where it's like the camera and then the crowd in the background, but other
Right.
people have it to where it's like the ring and then like the stage in the background.
stage.
That's how I have it. I like the.
That's
stage
how I have it
view.
too. Yeah.
I think
same.
there are a few other views as well. So
F them
it's
fans.
just- yeah. Fans.
I want to see my
Fans
cool
suck.
stage.
I want to see the baseball again thrown in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's just to where everybody can just pick which camera option they like the best for their own
I get it
personal
now.
viewing. Yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it doesn't. I don't play online matches, so that doesn't have anything to do with me, really. I don't really care. But for the people that do play online matches, A, I hope they fix the servers for you. B, that is cool that you can choose your own camera angle.
They're never gonna do that. They're never gonna do that.
But bigger thing here, new brawl environments such as the WWE Archives and NXT parking lot. Again, I don't really use the backstage brawl option that much. It's not really a factor into my universe mode too often. But I'll definitely be, maybe not in my universe mode, but just in exhibition, I'll definitely be using this. I think that's such a cool idea. The WWE Archives is going to be really cool because I'm sure there's going to be so many little Easter eggs that you're going to be able to find where you're able to throw someone in Undertaker's casket, or you could drop the SmackDown fist on somebody. Something like that would be really cool. I'm sure there's going to be a ring in there or something like that. Like, oh, here's the ring from WrestleMania 2000 or something like that you can wrestle in. And so that's going to be cool, I think, because I feel like they're going to have definitely a lot of Easter eggs, and within those Easter eggs are going to be cool features that you can throw somebody into or drop on somebody or throw at somebody. And the NXT parking lot, also cool. I mean, it's just going to be a parking lot, but it's a well-known thing that the NXT parking lot is not a safe place. You stay away from the NXT parking lot. We've been in the NXT parking lot. You and I have
survived.
been. Yeah, we were in the NXT parking lot one
alive.
time. Yeah, we were in the NXT parking lot one time, and we were fighting for our survival just to get back on the bus to get to our car.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's cool in general because there's not really a parking lot. I feel like, well, there is in the backstage thing, right? There's like a parking area, but it's not a parking, like it's an indoor.
It's like a parking garage, yeah.
Right. So having an outdoor parking lot is going to be cool where you can throw somebody. And if there's not a bunch of branding, which I don't think there will be, because why would they have a bunch of branding in a parking lot? That could be cool to use just for story. Like if someone's doing a story thing or whatever, now you have the ability to just use what I would imagine is probably a generic kind of parking lot. So that's cool. Moving on, the WWE 2K25 My Rise mode is now unified. This is definitely interesting. There you go. Take control of your custom superstar from the women's or men's divisions in a singular multi-gender My Rise storyline where Bayley, Kevin Owens, and other superstars infiltrate NXT in an attempt to take control of the entire WWE universe. So that's pretty cool. Featuring new brawl environments, unlockable arenas, characters, and more, plus new ally storylines involving Jey Uso, Bianca Belair, Seth freaking Rollins, and other WWE superstars. I'm really intrigued. I've always enjoyed the My Rise modes. Even in 2K20, that game was a mess, but I really loved the story mode. That might be my favorite story mode, where they had it was the Trey and Red storyline, where they were like a guy and a girl that were not together, but they were like best friends that were on this journey together. I actually thought it was a really cool story and a really cool like way to tell that story of being able to use both men and women. So I've always enjoyed it, and like I said, yeah, I think 2K20 literally may be my favorite My Rise, which is crazy. But yeah, so I'm always excited to try the new My Rise each year. I feel like most people probably are. So yeah, I think this is cool. I did enjoy the ability to do two different ones where you do one as a man and one as a woman. I always did think it was cool. But I'm not against this unified thing. I mean, it makes sense. We're trying to include everybody, so it kind of makes sense to just include everybody into one. Whether you want to be a girl or a guy, you just play the same storyline. And it probably, in reality, I mean, we know they're lazy, but they probably do still have a lot on their plate. So it probably was a little relief for the 2K devs that they don't have to figure out two different entire story modes. They could just figure out one, you know? I'm intrigued to see this storyline where Bayley, Kevin Owens, and other superstars infiltrate NXT, and I'm excited to see what their motive is. Why are they trying to infiltrate NXT? New brawl environments, I'd imagine, is probably the same. It's probably just the WWE Archives and the NXT parking lot. But it would be cool if there's more that we just don't know about yet, and maybe there is. I feel like they do kind of do that where they have the what was it? They had like that mocap area the one year, or the movie set another year and stuff like that. So they always do things like that. So hopefully there are more than just the two. But even if it's just the two, those are two kind of banger environments to include. Unlockable arenas, I'd imagine It's probably more like every year they kind of have like some indie arenas, or they have like the PWJ, the Pro Wrestling Japan arena. So there's going to be more of that, which is always cool because that's something that you can utilize in a universe mode or something like that. Unlockable characters. Now this is where it kind of gets me. For years, I've wanted these My Rise original characters to be unlockable. Like I said, I think it was 2K22, where What's the Status was able to go into the files and he uploaded the models for those original characters, and you could download them on Community Creations. But 2K was really not happy about that, and they basically changed it to where that's not a thing that he could do, which is really annoying. And then I remember last year they announced that you would be able to unlock these characters as My Faction Persona cards, which I thought was cool because Persona cards are able to be used in other modes, not just My Faction. And then, like I said, I think I said it last podcast or something like that, I went through and I made sure to unlock every single one of them so I could use them in my fully custom universe. And then for some reason, the Persona cards or whatever were not able to be used outside of My Faction. So that was really annoying. So hopefully this unlockable characters thing is going to be those My Rise original characters that you can actually unlock and utilize within every game mode in the game. As well, I feel like every year they do add actual characters in that thing. I think Mighty Molly was in there one year as an unlockable. So they always add in like some legends or something like that as an unlockable in that feature to kind of make you play it. But my hope is that the unlockable characters they're talking about are the My Faction original characters. And the new ally storylines. I mean, that's not too much, but I guess it's cool adding in new ally storylines. But I'm more focused on the unlockable aspects of the story.
I think one of the best things that's going to be coming out of this new My Rise mode, now that it's all unified into one mode, everything is just going to be, I feel like, easier to unlock now that it's all within like the same mode. You don't have to go between like, oh, I have to be the man storyline to get this one. I have to be in the women's storyline to get this one. It's now all in the same story. And I think it's going to make unlocking things a lot easier.
It's also, I remember too, it was like, what was I going to say? It was like, oh, it's not very direct, I guess, or it wasn't very direct. Like you would want to unlock something, but it would be a side quest, and if you just happen to skip it on accident, then it was completely gone, and you had to go back and play through up until that. And it could be towards the end of the damn story that you missed something, and you're like, I really have to play basically 95% of the story mode again just to unlock this stupid arena, So hopefully they make it a little more direct of like, hey, maybe go talk to Adam Pearce over there because you're going to unlock, this cool arena or this cool character. So I hope they do that. Chain wrestling, underground match, bloodline rules match, barricade dives, and LED damage seems to be all of the new matches and kind of like features, as well as intergender matches, which I'll dive in a little bit more on soon. But I mean, chain wrestling, I can give or take. I know a lot of people actually did want it back. I don't really care that much. It was okay, I guess, in the other games. I know you're not a big fan of it. The underground match, I'm excited to use. I'm excited to use the underground match. That's always been something that I've liked since they brought it back and put it in NXT. I always thought that was really cool. Lola Vice is like the mainstay when it comes to underground matches. I feel like she's been in the most underground matches or something like that. So I'm excited to use that. Bloodline rules match, that's going to be cool. I have a little paragraph that I'll read about that in a second. Barricade dives, I think that's a cool, small little, almost like a quality of life feature. Like it's nothing huge, but it is something small that people will enjoy, as well as LED damage. That one they definitely took from AEW Fight Forever for sure. They saw them do that in AEW Fight Forever, and they were like, "Oh shit, we got it. Why haven't we done this before?" But I'm not mad at it. I'm happy about it because that is something that has been a thing in WWE where someone gets thrown into the stage or into the barricade or into the apron, and you see the LED kind of glitch out. So that's something that's cool to where I don't know how in depth it's going to be, but I'm sure it's going to glitch out, and I'm sure the more you do it, it'll probably crack or shatter or something like that. So that's cool. The Bloodline rules match will allow up to 6 run-ins per match, 3 per side, and these run-ins can be performed like a finisher by filling a meter and then spending the earned credit. Effectively, a Bloodline rules match will start 1-on-1 and end 4-on-4. So I think that's cool. I mean, we saw it at WrestleMania. That's probably the best example you can get out of that. So that's gonna be cool. I don't know how often I'm gonna use it that much, but I will definitely use it. Maybe in my storyline or in my universe create a universe, I might find a way to utilize it. I have some Samoan like characters that I have in there that maybe they'll pull out the Bloodline Rules match, something like that. So that'd be cool. Yeah, I think it's cool. It'll be a cool little thing to have those run-ins and whatnot. It's not going to be a surprise to you because you're going to set it up and you're going to know who is coming in, but it's more going to be cool to see just the finished product of all 6 run-ins happening and everybody's all laid out outside and the announce table is broken and there's blood everywhere and stuff like that. So I think that would be cool. Like I said, I'll use it. I don't know how often I'm going to use it, but it will be something that I use.
I think this is definitely going to be something that's more for a universe mode sort of thing, like to finish off a storyline or something like that. I can't imagine myself using this too much in like regular exhibition. LED damage was something that I was very excited for, just because I feel like that's going to make, especially like stage combat, I feel like that's going to be far more in depth now that we can actually break the LEDs up there, or at least assuming so. I have made myself very vocal about my hatred for chain wrestling. I don't like it. I just don't like how the system works in the game. Barricade dives, that's another thing that I'm pretty sure they just ripped straight from Fight Forever, because how often have you seen people dive off the barricade in WWE ever? Maybe like a handful of times.
Definitely not like a splash. You'll see like someone do a running knee off of a barricade or something like that. But
right, yeah.
Not too often does somebody doing a cross body off of a barricade.
Yeah, exactly. I saw Seth Rollins. I'm like, when has he ever done that?
Right. So far, from what I've seen, the new members confirmed from the trailer that we got and screenshots include Lola Vice, Jacob Fatu, Tamatanga, Tongaloa, Mr. Fuji as a manager, and I don't know if you even noticed this because it was very, very under the radar, but I saw people posting it. Maybe Armando Estrada.
I've seen the tweets of this. I would be very happy to see him come back. I think that'd be. This is like his first time being in like a 2K game, right? I'm pretty sure.
I think he was in like 2009 as like unlockable or something like that, or DLC or something random. I think he may have been in like the Road to WrestleMania or something like that. So he may not have. I know there was like a thing with those older games where people were able to go into the files and kind of make people playable. So maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I think he may have been in Road to WrestleMania, and I just saw like someone went in and was able to unlock him through like the files or something like that. But I feel like he has been in games before, just not as like a playable manager. But yeah, I feel like all these people obviously make sense. Lola Vice makes sense. I saw there was a screenshot of I think Shayna Baszler giving her like a gut wrench in the NXT Underground match. So that makes sense. And they just released a screenshot of her entrance. I'll be honest, her face does not look like her at all. It doesn't look like her at all. And the hairstyle is very outdated. She's got like very long hair now, and in there she had like 2 ponytails that she had a while ago. So I don't know how, it might be Lola Mice or something like that. Not really Lola Vice, but it didn't really look like her. So hopefully, you know, I've seen a lot of people complaining about certain stuff. I know like people were complaining that Nia Jax was like copy and pasted, that her gear in the trailer was the same gear she had in 2K24. Here's the thing, guys. I think a lot of times they use previous builds of the game. And that's what I'm hoping for. So like when it comes to Nia Jax, I'm not sure if that's the finished product or if they were still working on the game and just captured that real quick and they hadn't finished her attire yet. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I'm hoping for that to be the case with Lola Vice, where maybe they kind of update her face and maybe that screenshot they showed was from a previous build where it wasn't fully finished, you know? But yeah, it makes sense for her to be in the game. You predicted she was going to be DLC. I think I predicted she was just going to be on the disc. So prediction was right. She's in the game. Jacob Fatu, Tamatanga, Tongaloa, same thing. I think we both predicted they were just going to be base game guys. Looks cool. I'm going to use Jacob Fatu like crazy. He's one of my favorite guys right now.
Sure. Yeah.
I think a lot of people, he might be the number one guy that everyone's excited to use. There's always one where it's, they had Kevin Owens and Finn Balor in like 2K16. That was their first game, and those were the 2 people that everyone was just super excited to use. Or guys like a Johnny Gargano, who was super hot at the time in his first game, and everybody, things like that. There's always like 1 or 2, maybe 3 people that are in the new game that everyone is just collectively excited to use. I think Jacob Fatu is on top of the list. I think he's going to be the guy that everybody's going to be playing as for sure. Yeah, they all make sense. We all predicted they were going to be in there. Mr. Fuji, I'm not super surprised, but I guess I kind of am a little bit. But yeah, I'm not like fully surprised. It makes sense because of the fact that he's in the showcase mode with Yokozuna. We saw him in, I believe, the trailer. We saw Yokozuna making his entrance, and we saw Mr. Fuji behind him. So that makes sense. And I feel like it kind of works. I feel like he's been in the games before, right?
I'm pretty sure he was in 2K14 at least, because that was also
Okay.
the same showcase where it was like
Gotcha.
him and Yokozuna.
Okay, so it makes sense. So yeah, he's not. I mean, I know he was in like a lot of older games and stuff, like things like that. But I didn't know if he was in 2K games. But makes sense. But yeah, I feel like it goes hand in hand. Like Yokozuna's been in the game for years and years and years. I feel like, yeah, you got to kind of have Mr. Fuji with him. And I feel like now that he's in the game, they're both just going to be in the game for a year. It's going to be 10 years from now, and they're both still going to be in the game because they're people that people like. And now that they had Mr. Fuji with them, there's no reason to take him out. So they're definitely going to be in there. Armando Estrada, that is crazy. I'm shocked by that one. I'm excited. For those that don't know, in the trailer, they showed Umaga when they were going over the Bloodline showcase or whatever. They showed Umaga, and it looked like, it looked like a normal, it looked like a normal like shot of Umaga, but it wasn't. It was in the shadows, as we like to say, was a man in a suit. So we could be wrong. It may not even be Armando Estrada. It could be some random person, but chances are it's going to be Armando Estrada. So yeah, I'm super excited for that. Not sure how many games he's going to be in. I'm not sure it's a Mr. Fuji situation where they're going to keep Armando Estrada in the game for 5 years. He's not like a big name, but it is going to be really cool to see him in the game. Yeah, I think that's going to be cool. I know it's from one of, I don't remember the PLE, but it's some match Umaga had with John Cena. I think it's probably the only one. I just can't think of the name, but it's from 2007. So yeah.
Cool beans. I hope. You know what it is?
Huh?
You know who it is? It's not going to be Armando. It's going to be Akio.
All right, intergender matches, intergender rumbles, and specific intergender championships. Now, this one's interesting. I know you're not too big on it, but I think it's going to be, for me, I'm actually excited for it. I think it's going to be kind of a game changer. Intergender matches, I think I said in the podcast last week that them adding that to me makes just, I don't know. Like I said, I had a universe mode, or have a universe mode where I had, I have the WNRN in my universe mode. I made an arena for it. I'll make sure to copy and paste it for 2K25. But I had some females in there that I wanted to be able to go after the internet title, because the internet title is just a title that anybody could win, but I couldn't do it, and they kind of just had to sit on the sidelines. So hopefully now they're able to do it, or with these specific championships that you can unlock, I hope that in the create a championship, you can toggle that to where it says like intergender on or off. And intergender rumbles, I know, I'm not sure if I don't remember if they said it was going to be full on rumbles where you could do 15 guys versus 15 women, or if it was just going to be like you can take 1, 2, maybe 3 spots. Because I know they stressed on it being like you could recreate R-Truth in the Rumble from last year. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like, oh, you can just put a guy or a girl in, or if it's going to be like full on, just put whoever you want in. You could do 25 guys and 5 women if you want or something. I'm not sure. I hope it's more so like that because it's just more freedom. But yeah, I'm excited for this stuff.
I don't know why you would essentially put like a limitation like that on the Rumbles. I feel like it's really just got to be like a click of the button thing, and you could just be like, okay, random number of men, random number of women, 30 people, go. Just go at it. Specific championships was not something that I really knew about. I just thought it was just going to be like the matches themselves, and that's it. I think having intergender titles would be a very interesting thing, and especially in like the case of like universe mode. I think that will branch out and give you a lot more opportunities to do some cool stuff with that for sure. Yeah,
I'm excited for it. I think it's like we said, it's just more freedom, more creativity that we've wanted 2K to kind of put in general. I think that's the thing, is a lot of fans, when it comes to anything, not just the intergender stuff, but when it comes to anything, when it comes to the 2K games, we just want creativity and we want freedom to be able to kind of do whatever we would like to do. So yeah, I think it would be a little different if this game was arcadey, like a Fight Forever, where it's just, oh, you just pick it up and have fun. I don't think people would care too much about creation, because even Fight Forever had a horrible creation suite. You couldn't do anything in there, and like people complained about it, but it wasn't like a huge deal. But the fact that this is a simulation game where they want it to be as real as possible, I think that's why the fans stress so much that we want freedom. We want to be able to, if you want us to do something that's real, you want us to make it more lifelike, give us the ability to do certain things that we could do even not in WWE, you know? So, promos return to Universe Mode.
Yes.
WWE 2K Sandbox Mode receives new upgrades, stress on new upgrades, to give players greater control over their universe experience, including the long-awaited return of promos. The new system includes multiple promo types and outcomes with new cutscenes and branching choices. Now, I sigh, not because I'm mad that promos are coming in. I'm glad promos are coming back, because at least it's something that wasn't already there. But it's not what I wanted. I wanted more. I feel like when they say that 2K Sandbox Mode receives new upgrades, I don't think it's upgrades. I think it's upgrade. I think it's just the promos and the cutscenes that come with the promos. I don't think there's really anything past that. So that's not too exciting, but it is a little exciting. I'm glad. Maybe I'm just being nitpicky. Maybe I'm just being annoying. But I am glad that at least they did something. It wasn't just, we made it to where you can just do this one small thing. It is at least a big kind of step in the way of getting the story creator into universe mode like we all want.
I mean, I've been asking for promos in universe mode for years now, so me personally, I'm very excited for this.
Yep.
I know I was kind of harping on it a little bit for My Rise a few episodes back, but being able to do it in universe mode is way better because that's the mode that I play all the time anyways. So being able to do promos and cross-section that with matches to create better storylines in universe mode, that's what I want. That's what I've wanted. So I'm getting what I want.
Give me what I want.
Give me what I want.
So yeah, I wish there was a little bit more, but I'm not gonna crash out that at least we get promos. So moving forward to this year's 2K Showcase, the Bloodlines Dynasty, the all new 2K Showcase hosted by the wise man Paul Heyman celebrates one of the most iconic wrestling family dynasties, the Bloodline, and the extended Anoa'i family. Featuring Roman Reigns, The Rock, Yokozuna, Jacob Fatu, and more, players can relive historic showdowns or flip the script and change the outcome of select matchups. Dream matches between members of the Bloodline and WWE superstars and legends offer a what-if fantasy element to settle fan debates and start fresh feuds, in addition to some surprises in store. There's also apparently 3 outcomes to certain showcase matches, as well as the big one, Slingshot tech is gone, fully replaced with animated cutscenes with in-game models. I think that's the biggest portion there. Yeah, I mean, I've never been like too big on the showcase modes. I know you probably are more a showcase guy than me. I always play them because there's always unlockables and things to get in those modes. But I've never been super like, oh, I can't wait for the new game so I can play the showcase mode. It's never really been my forte, but I do always play it, and I still would favor, I guess, something I like more than something like if this was a Hulk Hogan showcase, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, God, I hate my life.
If they ever do that, I'm not buying the game. I can't buy that game. I don't want
I would
that
just be
man
upset
on the cover of nothing.
I would have to, I would be like, well, now I have to go through and play this to unlock this stuff, but I don't want to, So I am glad that it's the Bloodline. I love the Bloodline. I love the new Bloodline. Basically anything that has to do with the family, all the way from Roman to even Sami Zayn, who's like an unofficial official member. I love it all. I think it's great. So yeah, I'm excited to play this. Having it to where it's not just Roman, I think is a good idea, because they could have easily just made it a Roman Reigns showcase, which it probably still kind of is. I feel like majority of the matches are going to be Roman's matches throughout the years. But having The Rock in there and Yokozuna definitely adds like a little bit of a flair to it. I would hope, we get more than one Rock match at least. Like Yokozuna, I could see them kind of just giving one match and you move on, but having like The Rock in there, I'd imagine you at least get 4 or 5 Rock matches throughout his career. We know Umaga's in there in that John Cena thing, so that's another person. Something that I think is interesting, like it says Jacob Fatu, and Jacob Fatu doesn't really have too many notable matches yet, you know what I'm saying, at least on his own. So I almost feel like this is going to be a thing where, do you remember in 2K22 with the Rey Mysterio showcase where Dom was in it, but he was an unlockable in there? I feel like they may do the same thing with Jacob Fatu, which I'm not against. Like Dom, when they kind of kept it a secret, or they really kept it a secret actually. Like when Dom was in there, he wasn't announced on the roster. He wasn't a part of the roster or anything like that. They didn't say, "Hey, make sure you go play it." They just said like, "Oh, there's a cool little surprise at the end." And when you got to the end, it was, "Oh, here's a match with Ray and Dom teaming," and when you finish it, you unlock Dom. So I thought that was cool. that they didn't like announce him as part of the roster, but he was like a secret character. So I feel like even though Jacob Fatu has been announced, I can see them doing that where, he's not just already in the game. You have to go through showcase, and once you finally get to the end of the showcase mode, you unlock either just Jacob Fatu or you unlock, Jacob Fatu and Tamatanga Tongaloa together. I think that would be pretty cool.
I am a big history guy. I'm a big wrestling guy, so being able to relive historic wrestling matches through these showcase modes, for me, I know I'm kind of in the minority, but I love these modes every year. Maybe not so much last year, just because I feel like we got a bit robbed of a 40 years of WrestleMania, which only showed like a third of the WrestleManias.
Right.
But
and it was like more recent WrestleManias too.
Yeah, there was a lot of recent WrestleMania. It's like, I just watched this last year. I don't need to play 5 matches from WrestleMania 39. What are we doing?
Right.
But I'm very excited for this mode. I love the Bloodline, obviously. I think it's going to be a lot of good matches. I know it doesn't really say their names on here, but I would very much so like to see some different variations of the Usos come in. Maybe with like the face paint, maybe like Uso Penitentiary. I mean,
we did see them in the trailer.
This is true. We did see them in the trailer.
Like we saw, it was like 2017 Usos with the Hell in a Cell in the background. So I would say that Hell in a Cell match with the New Day is definitely in there. So that makes sense. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. I'd be very excited to play a lot of these matches. I'm assuming. Well, I see down here there's also the What If fantasy element. I think that's going to be similar to WWE All-Stars, in where it's like kind of like historic matches between like legends and like current superstars. I'm going to be very excited to see how that plays out. There's always some weird little thing they like to do at the end of showcase modes, some sort of challenge. I'm assuming this is going to be that challenge, and I'm very excited to see how they play that one out.
Yeah, I mean, last year they had like the Who was the Mr. WrestleMania, and it was like some Rumble or something like that. What was it? Was it the same year or a year before they did the Cody thing?
What was the Cody thing?
The Cody thing was where he lost at WrestleMania, and then Cody like came on the screen and was like, "Whoa, we can't end this on a bad note." And then you like replayed it.
That was last year. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, they always do like to add a small thing.
They also did do the thing where it was like the pretty much the WrestleMania Royal Rumble, where you picked one of the people from like the matches that you've already played, and then you would start at 1, and then you would have to pretty much win that Rumble of every other superstar that you've already kind of played as or against in showcase mode. So it's just like the biggest competitors in the history of WrestleMania in a 30-man Rumble, and you're always at the 1.
Which I think too, wasn't that like the only way you were able to play as Brock Lesnar, because he was in showcase? But I think in the Rumble you were able to pick him.
Well, no, because you could play as Brock Lesnar in the match against Undertaker.
Yeah.
You always play as the winner, so.
Gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, my original idea, and it could still come through, was because I knew they always add something small, something cool. My original idea was, what if at the end of it, it's like a defeat the streak thing where you have to defeat the OTC, which I don't know if it's gonna be a thing, but I feel like it could still be a thing where they go, hey, here's the what if scenario. Pick who you want out of, maybe a small list of people, legends here. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, pick Noam Dar and beat Roman Reigns. It's like, here's people that, are legends.
Noam Dar.
Here's legends. Like, here, you pick Stone Cold or Shawn Michaels or Batista, because we did see Batista in the trailer when they showed the showcase mode. We did see Batista. So I'm like, maybe it is like, pick legends from John Cena, Batista, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Randy Orton, Undertaker, or something like that. And you have to try and either beat the OTC or defend the OTC. You know what I'm saying? You either play as Roman and you have to defend the Ulafala, or you play as someone else and you have to try and beat him. And it's similar to the Undertaker thing. So I think that would be cool if that was the dream match what if scenario, where similar to how you had to pick someone for the Royal Rumble WrestleMania thing. It's like, yeah, you either pick Roman and you have to defend it, or you pick someone new and you have to try and become the OTC. That would be really cool. The 3 outcomes to the showcase matches, I don't think it's every match. I think it's only a few. I feel like that just goes along with the what if scenario. In the trailer, during the showcase little area, you did see a clip where Cody was winning at WrestleMania, but you saw Solo Sikoa standing in the ring, which didn't happen. So maybe that's something where Solo turns on Roman at WrestleMania, and that's how Cody wins. So it makes sense as part of the what if thing, where certain matches will have different outcomes depending on what the environment is. So I think that makes sense. And slingshot tech, that's the biggest improvement there. Getting rid of that horrible slingshot tech. I saw somebody quote tweet the announcement of this or whatever, and literally was like, thank God, because I swear last year during the Hogan Andre match, it was 5 minutes of a cutscene of them just doing a bear hug.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember it because I just kind of blew through it, but I do agree that the slingshot tech needed to go. It was a cool concept of, blending the game with real life cutscenes, but they just were way too long. I think that was the issue, was they were way too long, and it always, like, I don't know if it was just me, but it always felt like it was about to, like, glitch out when it would transition. Like, it felt like the game froze for a second, and then it would go to the cutscene, or it froze, and then it would go back to the game, which isn't a great feeling when you feel like your game's going to crash or if it froze or something like that. So, it was a cool concept, but it didn't work out, and I'm glad they got rid of it to where it's just fully animated with the in-game models now.
They originally had it back in like 2K15 and 16 in their showcases mode. This is how it used to be, where it was always just the fully animated cutscenes, and I'm very glad they're bringing it back. One thing I really want out of this showcase mode, I feel like I've brought this up before, maybe on the podcast, maybe not on the podcast, I don't really remember, but last year's showcase, Corey Graves would be talking over the entire goddamn cutscene, and he would be spoiling like the ends to the matches. And it's like, I know I'm playing the winner, I know I'm gonna win, but I don't know how I'm gonna win. But he would just spoil it at the very beginning of multiple cutscenes. Please don't do that, Paul Heyman. Please let me watch and see how the match is gonna end before you tell me how the match is gonna end, or maybe just don't even tell me because I've already seen it. I don't need to be baby spoon-fed what's happening in front of me. I can see it. It's happening right in front of me. I know what's happening.
Right. I'm glad they got rid of Corey Graves low-key in there.
By the end of that showcase mode, I wanted to deck that man in the face. Oh, my God.
To add on to it, now that you brought Corey Graves up, something that is small, it's not to do with showcase mode, but a little disappointing. It did look like in the trailer it is still Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton on commentary. I mean, I get it if they're in the kind of just the groove of things, and it is what it is. But man, I would love to see Wade Barrett or Pat McAfee or Joe Tessitore, who's really been killing it. I would have loved to see them kind of in there. Like if they did Michael Cole, Joe Tessitore, and Wade Barrett, who isn't even like a full team that actually happens, but just 3 commentators that are on brands, I would have been happy. Or if they would have went, okay, let's get a guy from Raw, SmackDown, NXT. If they would have went, let's get Michael Cole, Joe Tessitore, and Booker T, that would be awesome. You get one guy from each brand. You know what I'm saying? I think that would have been awesome. But it's like the 10th year in a row we've gotten the same 3 guys on commentary.
I've turned commentary off at this point. I just can't stand to listen to their voices at this point. We definitely need an updated team.
I agree. Adding on to it, I'm glad Slingshot Tech is gone. Backstage brawls now feature up to 8 superstars. Again, Backstage Brawl, not something I use too often, because I am mainly in Universe mode, and I don't really see too much. I have used it in my created Universe mode where, trying to do a storyline of someone jumping somebody in the back, but I don't use it too often. But this is something where I think more so for friends. If you had a bunch of friends over and you just all went in and went to the backstage area, and you just one guy's getting thrown off into the damn floodlight, and one guy's getting thrown through a table, and the other guy's getting thrown in an ambulance or whatever. I think that's really what this is for, is that it's not so much like for universe mode or story stuff or whatever. It's more just, let's get 8 friends. I'm sure you could probably do it online too. Just 8 friends, either at someone's house or all online, just trying to kill each other.
8-player mode online would be the most hectic thing ever. It would not work at all.
It would be horrible.
It would be a bugging mess.
Big disappointment, and this is something, it's not something I saw, it's something I noted. And I could be wrong because they just haven't talked about it, but they did release a little blurb, I guess, about the Creation Suite. Doesn't seem like anything's been updated. They didn't announce anything. They didn't really talk. They just said like, the Creation Suite returns, and it's one of the biggest things that we have every year. That's all. Like it was a very generic statement that kind of made a lot of people go, okay, so they didn't even add anything or touch anything or try and edit anything within the Creation Suite. So that's disappointing to me as someone that is big in the creation stuff. I did say on a podcast like the last week or something like that in my wish list, I believe I said I did want them to add some more create and arena parts. Doesn't seem like that's the case. I'm sure there will be creative superstar parts because there's always new superstars, and the new superstars' hairstyles and gear and stuff always do get added in. So at least we get that, but it doesn't seem like there's a giant kind of like in-depth upgrade or addition to the game. But one thing that I did see a dev note that I would obviously rope into the Creation Suite is that apparently there is a deeper soundtrack when it comes to not like the main game soundtrack, but more so like the game's soundtrack catalog, which I guess probably is in just the normal soundtrack, but I'm more so using it for like create an entrance. Yeah, I guess they're gonna kind of, or they did kind of like add stuff that isn't like already in the game. Where my example I took was like, okay, so something like DX isn't in the game, although they are in the game, but they're not DX members, and they don't have like their team or whatever. But their theme song will probably be in the game. So when you make the team, you can use the DX Trons or the DX soundtrack, the theme song. So it makes more sense than just having both of them come out to like Triple H's theme song, which I guess works, but you want to be able to use the DX theme song. So that's what I'm taking from that, is that they added a lot of I guess theme songs and stuff that aren't already in the game because they're assigned to somebody. It's more so stuff from, maybe you want to use somebody's older theme. If you want to use, Triple H's King of Kings theme, or you want to use like a My Time theme, maybe that's in there, like something like that. So that's cool. If that's what I am correct about, I hope that is true, because that would be really cool. There is a lot of times where you make a tag team and their theme song isn't in the game, and it's kind of upset. Or maybe something like a Sheamus, where like Written in My Face was in the game last year because of my Persona card or whatever. But if it wasn't in the game, and then when that short time they brought it back and you wanted to use it, you wouldn't have been able to use it. So it's something like that where if that's already in the game, just because they wanted to add it in there, then yeah, it kind of gives you more, again, freedom and creativity to be able to use whatever you want.
The one thing I really hope for in terms of like a deeper soundtrack, I want them to add maybe like different songs from different pay-per-views, or like Monday Night Raws or SmackDowns or stuff like that.
That'd be cool.
Because I feel like there are a lot of those bangers throughout WWE history that are used for shows that we just don't have in these soundtracks. And I think it'd be super fun to listen to those while scrolling through the menu or creating a superstar or whatever, or even using them as like an entrance theme. So hopefully this deeper soundtrack actually goes a lot deeper than what we might think it might go as.
That would be really cool. 2 things left I got noted. 300 plus people on the roster. At first I looked at this and my eyes widened, and then I went and I counted the roster, the full roster, including all the DLC, all the showcase whatever models, and all the My Faction stuff. And it came out to around like 310 people or something like that. And I think I sent it to you, and you also, before I even said it to you, you were like, "Oh, this isn't just the base, the base roster." So yeah, don't get too excited that you're gonna get every superstar that's ever come through WWE ever as a base game model, and then you get DLC and all this stuff. It is. I think they tried to sneak it, bro. They tried to slide it in there we have over 300 people on the roster, trying to make it seem like, oh my gosh, this roster is gonna be the biggest roster ever, and DLC and the showcase stuff, and no. By the end of the day, it's gonna be about 310, maybe even 320 if they really get crazy on the full end of the roster. So nothing too crazy there. It's going to be the same amount basically that we kind of get every year. And my last thing I have here, something something very random, but kind of almost game changing a little bit. New giant archetype. Where previously there have been 4 archetypes in wrestling, the new giant one brings new ways to play both play as and face. They have an additional health bar, but they can't do high flying spots. And combos are going to be limited due to the more stamina needed to be initiated with them. So, yeah, I think that's it's something that seems small, but I feel like it's actually a really big deal. You pick that, and yeah, I think, it's just like they always have, what is it? It's like the high flyer, the submission guy, the brawler guy, and the powerhouse. So I feel like most of the time, if you were making a giant, you just pick powerhouse. But now that there is an actual giant archetype, it is going to be something different, and it is going to be cool. I mean, it does limit you, I guess, if you do choose it to where you never know, bro. If you wanted someone like a Keith Lee, if you wanted Keith Lee to be a giant, but you can't because he wouldn't be able to do any dives or anything like that. Whereas he does do that, so you'd have to pick the powerhouse or something like that, which I guess works. But if you wanted to make a true giant, I guess it does kind of add a new way to play as like a Big Show call or a Great Khali call. I don't know who the hell's playing as Great Khali, but downloading a Big Show or a Paul White, is probably the first person I could think of because he's not in the game, and people will definitely download cause of him on community creations. So having a giant archetype where he moves more like a giant and he's a little slower and whatnot, I think that is pretty cool. I'm not sure how often I'm going to use that. I'm sure I do have in my created universe, I do have one or two kind of really big guys, so I might use it for them, but I'm not sure how often I'm going to be like playing as them, you know? So it's something cool. It's not something I'm going to go crazy over and use for everybody, obviously, but it is a cool, again, kind of like a quality of life kind of thing.
I definitely agree with you there on the idea of this being a game changer. I think this is also an archetype that's going to be applied to a lot of like current superstars, kind of like your Omos's, your Andre the Giants, your Big Shows, all that kind of stuff. I think that's going to affect the main roster as well. We again going back to the 300 plus roster. There's going to be like 50 figures that are playable. There's going to be 100 of them.
20
that are
Roman
be
Reigns.
Like my faction exclusives, 20 Roman Reigns, 8 Jimmy Usos, 6 Jey Usos.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a lot of repeats, a lot of
I mean, it is
BS.
true. Because when you think about like the showcase mode, it's all about the bloodline. So you're going to get like the Usos, for example. You're going to get the Usos for whatever matches. Because we have the one that we know of, but there's probably more that they're going to be in.
Right.
But then you also think of it as like, okay, last year when they had like Roman and Cody, they also had Paul Heyman and the Usos out there as unlockable people. So I'm like, how many matches are there going to be with Roman Reigns where Jay's out there or Jimmy's out there or Paul Heyman's out there or all of them are out there and they're going to be unlockable? So I'm like, between their in-ring attires for the normal game and the showcase matches plus their managerial attires for like 10 Roman Reigns matches, there's going to be like 50 Usos and Paul Heyman's for sure.
Right, yeah. There's probably realistically only going to be maybe like 30 actual new people to this game.
Right.
Tops.
And that's with DLC.
With DLC, yeah, exactly.
Right. That's base game and DLC and whoever the new My Faction Persona card WrestleMania person is, things like that. So, yeah, I mean that's kind of
there'll be less people on the roster with just one addition of themselves than everybody else.
Right. So, that's kind of all I've got so far. I'm trying to think in my head if there's anything else I need to add that I may have seen in the past few days that I didn't add here, but I feel like I have everything. I feel like we haven't really gotten too much. I feel like we only got that one low device kind of screenshot since. So yeah, I think that's our episode. This is definitely our longest episode to date. It's like an hour and 12 minutes. I gotta edit it a little bit to cut some stuff out, but yeah, it's definitely our longest one. I knew it was gonna be long. Theo, anything you want to add?
Before we end it off, we saw earlier this week on Monday Night Raw that JD McDonagh got seriously injured with like a few broken ribs and a punctured lung. So we're just going to be kind of hoping for the best for him, hoping that he gets a speedy recovery.
100%.
Thoughts and prayers with him and his family. Hope he comes back soon.
For sure. He, that dude is he's a trooper, man.
He deserves respect for that one, for sure, for still
fact
putting on the
that-
match after all of that.
Right. I mean, the fact that they said that he, that the doctors went and checked on him over, after the spot, and he like waved them off, which if you're a wrestler, I've been in the wrestling business, I've been there. Don't do that. I'll look straight in the camera. Don't do that. If the doctor or someone is telling you to end the match, you got to end the match. It's like a thing within wrestlers where, you got to finish the match no matter what. And I get it, but at the same time, you got to protect yourself and you also have to protect your opponent. If you're messed up and you wave off the doctors and then you go pick somebody up and you drop them because your leg is messed up and you drop them on their head, now it's a different situation. You know what I'm saying? So I would say if you're a wrestler, I've been around, it's been like 10 years of me being in the wrestling business. Don't let your pride or your ego get to you. If you're messed up, tell the referee that you're messed up and end the match. You know what I'm saying? Any promoter or booker that gets mad at you for going home early because you may have broken your leg or something is not a good person and should not be a promoter or a booker. And don't let your pride get in the way. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your opponent. Let your referee know that you're messed up. And there's always a way to book around what happens. If you mess up, if your leg gets messed up or something and whatnot, there's a way to book around it and tell a story around it, rather than seriously hurting yourself even further or hurting your opponent on accident. So yeah, but he's a trooper, man. Good on him for being able to finish it. I did see when he got to the back, someone did take a photo that he like was in between the screens, like so he wasn't fully in Gorilla. He was like by the curtain, and apparently he collapsed. I didn't realize, so I thought it was a joke, and I was like, oh, this guy's hilarious. Like he just went out there, and because he did have like a warrior, like even before I realized he was injured, he had like this crazy showing where he did all this stuff. So I thought he was joking. I thought he like collapsed as like a joke, like, oh shit, I just did all that. But the fact that he actually did legitimately collapse before he can get through the curtain is concerning. But I believe he is good. He's just gonna miss a few months to heal up, so that's good. But yeah, thoughts and prayers to him. I hope he's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's our episode, our big 2K news breakdown. I'm not sure what our next week's episode is going to be yet. I got to think of that because I don't think we're going to stick to a theme for the next 4 episodes. I think we're going to kind of branch out and do other stuff. I wanna touch on something with Star Wars or Marvel. I definitely want to do something like that. So maybe that
we could definitely do that for sure. Yeah,
that'll be our next topic, is something to do with Star Wars or Marvel. So that'd be really cool. Definitely around May 4th, we have to do something Star Wars related for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure, like a May 4th special.
Oh, for sure. But in general, yeah, we want to. This isn't just a wrestling podcast. Even if we do a Star Wars episode, we probably will still touch on something with wrestling that happened in the previous week or something like that, if there's any news to talk about. But it'll still be a Star Wars episode, you know. So yeah, that's our episode, our big 2K episode, our grand finale for now, at least, of our WB games discussions. I'm sure we can find a way to come back around to some wrestling video games at some point, but we're gonna steer away from it for a little bit. If you want more of this, check out, we did last week's podcast was all about our 2K wish list of what we'd like to see. Some of the stuff is right. Some of the stuff we got right. Some of the stuff we don't know if we got right because they haven't talked about it yet. And also, again, by the time this is uploaded, we should have it out, or it should be just about to come out. I know it's scheduled to premiere on our YouTube channel, is our 2K DLC wish list. Yeah, that we're just literally breaking down our wish list. Some from what we know with someone like Lola Vice, where Theo put it in his DLC thing. You were wrong, bud. She's just in the game.
Don't worry, my
things
celebrity
like that.
pack will be right.
There you go, yeah. So if you want to find out what his celebrity pack is, definitely go watch it because it's insane. And it's not going to happen, but it would be hilarious. Yeah, you can follow the WNRN, which is our podcast like host, where we are under their umbrella. You can follow them at the WNRN. You can follow Mr. Bebop over there, Theo Bebop, at OTS. Is it OTS Bebop, right?
It is OTS Bebop, yes.
There you go, OTS Bebop. You can follow me at OTS Bridger. I'm also doing some stuff on the side with my YouTube channel where I've been uploading some content. I just uploaded a video about my fake replicas that you can kind of see in the back as I totally destroy my setup here. I did one where I ranked the WrestleManias I've been to, things like that. I have one upcoming. So yeah, we're doing some side stuff there. Also, yeah, day before the Royal Rumble when we're recording this, we're just rambling at this point, but day before the Royal Rumble where we are recording this. So tomorrow we will have the first ever winner of the OTS Project Championship. So next week's episode, when you see us, one of us is going to be holding that championship over our shoulders. It's either going to be me or it's going to be Theo. So we're going to see. So yeah, check us out on our socials. Make sure you come back next week to see who wins the championship and see what our topic is. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
I'm going to be the first champion. It's going to be me.